Good afternoon all. So today I, Dr. Rashmi Singla, will be telling you the topic rationale of antibiotics prescribing, the criteria of choice of antibiotic prescribing. I am professor in Guru Ram Rai Institute of Medical Sciences, Dehradun. So Antibiotic Stewardship Program. This is a coordinated effort to promote the appropriate use of antimicrobials, improving outcomes of patients, reducing the antimicrobial resistance, and decreasing the spread of infections caused by multi-drug resistant organisms. It's a coordinated approach, a systemic approach, institutional approach involving multiple stakeholders. Now, what are the steps in antibiotic stewardship program? Optimizing antimicrobial use. The goal is to ensure that antimicrobials are used effectively and only when necessary, preventing overuse and misuse. Then combating resistance. By promoting appropriate use, ASPs help to slow down the development and spread of antimicrobial resistance. Then improving patient outcome. ASP aims to improve safety and outcomes by ensuring that patients receive the right antimicrobial therapy at the right time and in right dose. Then key components of this stewardship policy are policy and procedures. ASPs often involve developing and implementing policies and procedures for antimicrobial use such as guidelines for prescribing, formulary restrictions and pre-authorization requirements. Then another component is education and training. Healthcare professionals need to be educated about antimicrobial resistance, appropriate antimicrobial use and role of ASPs. Then comes surveillance and monitoring. ASPs often include surveillance programs to track the antimicrobial use, resistance patterns and infection rates. Feedback and auditing, regular feedback to prescribers on the antimicrobial use patterns and can help to improve prescribing practices. Then comes formulary management. ASPs may involve managing a list of available antimicrobials to ensure that most appropriate and effective agents are available. Next step is infection control component. ASP often works closely with infection control teams to prevent the spread of infections, including those caused by resistant organisms. Now, what is the burden of hospital admission infections? According to WHO, on average at any given time, 7% patients in developed countries and 10% in developing countries occur at least one hospital admitted infections. Mortality accounts for 10% of the affected patients. Major HAI types are catheter-associated urinary tract infections, 33%, central line associated bloodstream infections, that is 13%, ventilator associated pneumonias 15%, and surgical site infections 31%. Now, what are the benefits of antibiotic stewardship program? Lethal infections are readily treatable, and prompt initiation of antibiotics reduces the morbidity and saves lives. Example, sepsis. And antibiotics have serious adverse effect in roughly 20% of the hospitalized patients. And misuse of antibiotics has contributed to antibiotic resistance. So optimizing the use of antibiotics is crucial to effectively treat infections, protect the patients from harm caused by unnecessary antibiotic use, and minimize harms by improving antibiotic prescribing. Now, let us get introduced to the criteria of choice of antimicrobials. How will choose a particular antimicrobial for a particular pathogenesis? The choice of antibiotic depends on the antibiotic susceptibility of the causative organism. The choice is based on most effective, least toxic, with rapid action and good pharmacokinetics, and with least cost for the precise duration of time to cure or prevent infection. Then what are the indications to use of antimicrobials? The choice of antibiotic depends on the antibiotic susceptibility of the causative. Oh, sorry, this is already done. Indications are like if the organism is infective, like bacteria, viral, fungal, parasite, helminths, worms are causing the infection. Antimicrobials can be used for long-term prophylaxis. Secondary bacterial infections are common in patients with viral respiratory tract infections. So prophylaxis is given here. Patients on ventilators, these are given protection from ventilator-associated pneumonia, particularly from respiratory infections. Prolonged or instrumental delivery, this increases the chances of infection in newborn. Both child and mother are covered by prophylaxis. Preoperative prophylaxis is given for surgeries. Then patient at extremes of age, either very young or very old, immunocompromised patients like of TB and HIV, and patients with serious long-term conditions like infective endocarditis, osteomyelitis, these can be given antibiotic therapy. And patients who are stable and frequently ill for a period of several days or weeks, examples subacute bacterial endocarditis and vertebral osteomyelitis, there also antibiotic treatment is given. Now, what is antimicrobial treatment? This is treatment of infection with antibiotics. This needs an appropriate diagnosis first. Initial therapy for infection is empirical. We use gas therapy on the most likely pathogens, guided by clinical presentation. And empirical therapy covers multiple possible pathogens, usually based on most likely causative organism. The microbiological samples, then cultures of blood, urine, sputum, they should be taken prior to commencing treatment. Switching to narrow spectrum drugs reduces the cost and toxicity and prevents the emergence of antimicrobial resistance in the community. Now, what are the markers of infection? Signs and symptoms can be misleading. Like procalcitonin, this is markedly raised in bacterial infection compared to viral infection. Dangers, then high inflammatory markers like procalcitonin, this is marker of infection. The infections are marked by increased leukocyte count, TLC count, increased platelets, increased C-reactive protein, which is inflammatory marker, increased ESR, and there might be increased serum creatinine, liver function test. And danger signs are fever with chills, vomiting, shortness of breath, skin changes, redness, swelling, warmth, and sepsis. These are the markers of infection. Then lab tests to detect susceptible organism. The microbiological tests are used to confirm the source of infection and whether there is presence of infecting organism. And antibiotic susceptibility testing, this is used to test the sensitivity organism towards the antibiotic. Then there is a term called minimum inhibitory concentration, MIC value. This is the lowest concentration of a drug which prevents visible in vitro growth of bacteria or fungi. If MIC is less than breakpoint, the organism is susceptible to the antibiotic. Now, what is breakpoint? Discriminatory concentrations used in interpretation of results of susceptibility testing to define isolates as susceptible, intermediate, or resistant. This is determined by various organizations like FDA, CLSI, Clinical Lab Standards Institute, UCAS, European Committee on Antimicrobial Susceptibility Testing. Now we come to antibiogram. What is antibiogram? This is collection of data depicting the percent of individual bacterial pathogens which are susceptible to different antimicrobial agents. It assesses the local susceptibility rates as an aid in selecting empirical antibiotic therapy, then in monitoring resistant trends over time with an institution, and antibiograms can be used to compare susceptibility rates across institutions and track resistant trends. Antibiogram is generally generated after bacteria isolated as from patient's tissues or body fluids and subjected to lab testing. This is the antibiogram chart. Here you can see different color coding. So there's a number of strains are here, then percentage of isolates which are obtained for different species are there. Then against each individual drug, whether resistance or sensitivity is there. This is marked by color coding chart. 90% of the green color depicts greater than 90% or equal to 90% of isolated susceptible, 70 to 89%. Yellow color of isolates are susceptible, and pinks less than 70% of isolates are susceptible. And R shows intrinsic resistance, And orange color determines that antibiotic is not recommended to be used in children without specialist advice. Now, criteria of choice. What are the criteria of choice for choosing an antibiotic? First are drug factors like spectrum of activity, whether narrow spectrum or broad spectrum is required. Then type of activity, sidal effect or static effect is required. For definitive therapy, we use narrow spectrum drugs which are given which selectively affect the organism as it is less likely to disturb the normal microbial flora. More severe acute infections they resolve faster with a sidal than a static drug because sidal drug reduces the number of bacteria at the site of infection, while the static drug only prevents increase in their number. With bacteriostatic drugs like chloramphenicol, macrolides, linezolid, tetracyclines, bacteria start multiplying quickly when the drug level falls below the MIC value, resulting in relapse of infection. Those acting on cell wall, example beta-lactams, vancomycin, aminoglycosides, polypeptides, these are bactericidal, and augmentin is a bactericidal as compared to erythromycin used in orthopedic conditions. Cefuroxime with amikacin is standard. Then pharmacokinetic profile like bioavailability, therapeutic window, concentration dependent killing or time dependent killing. These are also parameters to decide the drug. Sensitivity organism assessed on basis of MIC values and post-antibiotic effect. Then route of administration. These are the drug factors. Then now we move to methods of assessing bioavailability. Bioavailability, here you can see the graph. Concentration versus time. Area under curve is shown. C maximum is maximum concentration of drug and T maximum is time to maximum concentration. Like drugs like linezolid, levofloxacin, metronidazole have high bioavailability. Bioavailability determines the onset, intensity and duration of action, and this is critical for dose calculation and efficacy. Here you can see in the second graph plasma concentration time curves depicting bioavailability differences between three formulations of a drug containing the same amount of drug. You see formulation B is more slowly absorbed than A, and though ultimately both are absorbed to the same extent, that is means area under the curve is same, and B may not produce therapeutic effect after a single dose. However, average therapeutic blood levels may be similar with both A and B. Here you can see therapeutic index in the next graph. Therapeutic index is LD50 by ED50, that is the lethal dose in 50% of individuals divided by effective dose in 50% of individuals. This is safety index also, and drug digoxin therapeutic index ranges from 0.8 to 2 mg per ml, and lithium therapeutic range is from 0.8 to 1.2 milliequivalents per liters. So they have narrow therapeutic index. So they can show toxicity at higher than this concentration, the normal range. This is concentration dependent killing effect. Concentration dependent killing effect means that if the drug is above the MIC value, it shows concentration dependent effect. And for many organisms, aminoglycosides, fluoroquinolones, metronidazole produce concentration dependent killing. Inhibitory effect depends on the ratio of peak concentration to MIC. How many times it will be above MIC value, the more the concentration dependent killing. You can see here the red graph, the red area concentration time curve over MIC. Then second curve shows time dependent killing. Here the time for which the drug remains above the MIC value, irrespective of the concentration above MIC. Beta-lactam, glycopeptides, macrolides, they produce Time-dependent killing, i.e. antimicrobial action, depends on the length of time the concentration remains above the MIC. Drugs are here given in divided doses so that the survival mechanism again starts multiplying and a cidal action is exerted. Next graph is a post-antibiotic effect. The period of time after complete removal of antibiotic during which no growth of target organisms is seen, this is called post-antibiotic effect. Example, it's seen in aminoglycosides and fluoroquinolones. So you can see removal of antibiotic. It takes 1.6 hours to increase 1 log 10 the concentration of bacteria, while in the control patient the antibiotic is not removed and it takes in the antibiotic induced and when the antibiotic is removed it takes 3.1 hours to increase 1 log 10 and in control it easily multiplies taking 1.6 hours to increase 1 log 10 concentration of bacteria. Then other criteria, safety and efficacy. Safety, rational drug use should be safe with no or minor side effects. While administering the antitubercular drugs, the doctor switch to alternative drugs in case of toxicity. Like antitubercular drugs are hepatotoxic. So when hepatotoxicity occurs, they should be replaced with another alternative drug. Efficacy, first line anti-TB drugs, they are more efficacious than second line drugs. Then suitability. Suitability is also one criteria whether in the case of peptic ulcer we can give antacids instead of giving IV drugs to relieve the pain. Comorbidity. Finally, before starting treatment, it should be seen if drugs should be used in a particular patient. All tetracyclines cause renal damage except doxycycline and tigecycline in pre-existing kidney disease. And also cost, affordability, whether the patient can afford the drug at a suitable price, has also to be considered. Then penetration to the site of infection depends on pharmacokinetic properties of the drug. Drug which penetrates better and attains high concentration at the site of infection is more effective. Like fluoroquinolones, they have excellent tissue penetration in soft tissues, lungs, prostate, and joints. Cefuroxime, ceftriaxone, chloramphenicol, ciprofloxacin attain high CSF concentration, and ampicillin, cephalosporins, erythromycin, they attain high biliary concentration. Then route of administration. For less severe infections, we give by oral route. For serious infections like meningitis, endocarditis, we give by parenteral route. Then we have general prescribing. The broad spectrum antibiotics prescribed are generally ceftriaxone, cefuroxime, cefixime, cefoperazone, and narrow spectrum antibiotics prescribed are based on culture sensitivity like ciprofloxacin, norfloxacin, metronidazole, gentamicin. In sepsis conditions, we use higher antibiotics like meropenem, piperacillin, tazobactam, piptest, kinamycin. Then both used against gram-positive, gram-negative bacteria, common anaerobes. Vancomycin is used in vaccination Staphylo aureus, and in anaerobes we use metronidazole and clindamycin. Now, case scenario 1, a 74-year-old male post-operative for traumatic brain injury, tracheomized on an ICU day 3, developed fever, tachycardia, increased ventilator requirements, and purulent transtracheal secretion, suggestive of ventilator-associated pneumonia. Empirical antibiotics were initiated with colistin and minocycline for suspected carbapenem-resistant Acinetobacter baumannii. Transtracheal aspirate culture confirmed Grab infection, blood culture remained negative, antibiotics were continued for 7 days. So this is the antibiotic susceptibility testing report. You can see here sensitivity is for colistin, intermediate immediate sensitivity. Then case scenario 2 is a 52-year-old male received pancreatitis and long duration, day 20th, central line developed fever, hypertension and leukocytosis. Central line associated bloodstream infection was suspected. He was empirically started on meropenem. Blood cultures and catheter tip grew carbapenem resistant Klebsiella pneumonia. Central line was removed. Antibiotics were escalated to ceftazidime, avibactam plus aztreonam based on sensitivity to for metallo-beta-lactamase reducing CRE. The patient improved clinically and repeat culture was sterile. Combined therapy was continued for 14 days. So you can interpret the results. Similarly, at 50. Here, the sensitivity is shown for cefoperazone, sulbactam, and for colistin. Many drugs are sensitive. So you can choose among these. So surgery department, broad spectrum drugs were given. In operation theatre, culture sensitivity sent and drugs with time dependent killing effect were given. In pregnancy, amoxicillin was preferred. In orthopedics department, road traffic accidents, broad spectrum antibiotics were given. In farm injuries, metronidazole infusion was preferred. In antenatal cases, safer drugs to be used are injections of Traxan, metronidazole, and augmentin. Also, sensitivity of the organism to the antibiotic is criteria to treat like in typhoid and meningitis. Your use of antimicrobial combinations to achieve synergism. The target is to achieve synergism. Combination produces faster cure and reduces chances of disease relapse by more complete eradication of the pathogen. To prevent emergence of resistance, mutation conferring resistance to one antimicrobial is independent of conferring resistance to another. Used for chronic infections needing prolonged therapy and to broaden the spectrum of antimicrobial action. This was the aim of fixed dose combinations of antimicrobials. Now, antibiotic prescribing pattern. The prescribers, what should be the norms for antibiotic prescribing? The prescribers should document in the medical record the dose, duration, and indication for all antibiotic prescriptions. The appropriateness of all antibiotics should be approved 48 hours after the initial orders. And there should be change from IV to oral therapy in appropriate situations, and while discharging, the dose adjustment should be done in case of renal dysfunction. Example, piperacillin, tazobactam, meropenem dose, these are halved. And also, dose optimization should be done to optimize the treatment organisms with reduced susceptibility. Example, topical use of drugs in skin infection. Then time-sensitive stop orders should be specific. Antibiotics were given like for specific antibiotics should be given like antidressor should be given for 5 days. Rest antibiotics for 7 days. No antibiotic used in acute pancreatitis with normal leukocyte count. And also there should be educational trainings provided to clinicians through seminars, medical education unit, pharmacovigilance meetings to improve their antibiotic prescribing. So finally we are concluding, based on susceptibility testing and criteria of choice of antimicrobials, every hospital should have periodic published antibiograms circulated to the clinicians in the hospital. And also there should be hospital infection control committee, an antibiotic stewardship program should be formulated and bridging implemented in every hospital. Bridging these gaps, all the practicing physicians should be able to use antimicrobial agents in a responsible manner that is beneficial to the individual patient and the community. Thank you.